Are we having enough sex? All this and more coming next on Yala Live. Hi, I'm Laurent, and welcome to Yala Live. Today, we're gonna have some fun. Why? Because we're gonna talk about my favorite subject in the world, sex. We're gonna talk everything about sex, the good stuff, the embarrassing stuff, and we're gonna have a great time. Oh, I gotta say this, by the way. Due to mature subject matter, viewers' discretion is advised. Did I do that well?
Yeah,
it sounded like the movies?
Yeah, it did. It sounded.
So we have Marissa with us in the studio. She's a couples therapist, and she's gonna share with us her knowledge on sex. Welcome to our show, Marissa.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So we're gonna start with this. How are we doing sexually as a nation?
You know what? In comparison to other countries, I would have to say that America is a bit sexually repressed. I think that our sexual expression is not like it is in other countries. Countries like Brazil and France and other countries around the world kind of trumped us when it comes to sex and sexual, the way that they express sex, the way that they look at sex. And just having more sex. They tend to have more sex than we do. Right. And that's why I do this work, because I want to help couples figure out what's happening. Why are you not having the satisfying, fulfilling, and intimate sex that you're looking for?
Right. And it's funny because, I read a lot about sex. As you know, I'm very interested on the subject,
yeah.
As you can see. And some of the studies I read are this. One study said that Americans are very happy with their sex life. That's one study. And the other study was about the amount of time they lasted in bed. Okay? And it's a ranking from the states that could last the longest in bed to the ones that last the shortest in bed.
Right.
And the first state that is the longest is South Africa. I mean, what am I talking about? South Africa.
Wow,
South
I was
Dakota,
like, oh,
South
wow.
Dakota.
I was like, okay.
South Africa, or the United States. South Dakota, 7 minutes. That's the most they last. I thought I was bad. 7 minutes, okay? My wife is probably watching over there saying, And then if we go locally, like we're talking about Maryland, for example, they're number 16 on the chart, lasting 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
Average.
Virginia lasts in bed 2 minutes 23, and number 37. And DC, number 45, they last 2 minutes and 8 seconds in the bedroom. I mean, these are
Who
the
are they
averages.
measuring?
I have no idea who's measuring that, If you're curious, Alaska came dead last at about a minute or something like that.
Wow.
The whole act from start to finish, What is that? Like, honey, you look hot. I'm done.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. I guess it's cold over there, so it's okay. So how do you explain that? How one study says they're happy sexually, and the other one, they last like a few minutes, like in the bedroom. What does that say about us?
Well, you know what? That's why I asked, who are they polling? Because, I think that as a society, we're very focused on performance for sexuality and orgasm as a marker of, we're having fantastic, great sex. Right. How long I last, how many orgasms I'm able to give my partner or that I receive, when in fact, sexuality is so much more than that. It's about eroticism, it's about fantasy, it's about, connection, it's about true intimacy that's not performance-based. There's no baseline. The baseline is satisfaction and connection between partners. So I think, the studies can vary, because if you're looking for how long can I last from start to finish, you're going to get answers like that. But people are not asking, are you sexually satisfied in your experience? Are you feeling close to your partner? Is your partner, are you cuddling afterwards? Are you having that connection between each other that you really will enjoy and that sustains a lasting sexual relationship?
Baby, you listening to this? Listen. But that's great you mentioned that. But how do we do it? Like, we live in a stressful world, and a lot of Americans live like that. Kids, you have kids. In the DC area especially, people have high-profile jobs. A lot of people travel a lot for their work. They don't sleep that much. They're sleep deprived.
Yes.
What are the other problems that you encounter, and how can we fix that to make people have more sex?
Well, you know what? You touched on so many things. DC tends to be, in DC area tends to be so high-powered, very long hours. You wake up, very early, you go to work, you're stressed out, you're not sleeping,
Yes.
You're probably not eating right, you're certainly probably not exercising or taking care of yourself.
Right.
So when you're not doing those things, you barely have enough time in the day for yourself, let alone to give yourself to someone else and be ready for someone else.
Right.
How do we combat that? I mean, all of us tend to be very, in our heads. We have to get to the next checkpoint. We have to do the next task. We have to get through our days. And sometimes we bring that home with us.
Right.
And sexuality is so much more than that. In our sexual experience, you don't need your head. You need your heart. You need your spirit. You need your whole sexuality, your sensuality in your sexual experience.
Right.
And it's very hard for us to stay present.
So how do we, you're with a couple that, a high-power couple from DC, for example. How do you tell them, okay, this is what you need to do to get more sex in your life?
Well, first of all, you have to prioritize yourself and your relationship. So many times we're in service to others, our work, our lives, our other people, but we cannot focus on ourselves. And even when we have an opportunity, we're thinking about the next task, the next thing that I need to accomplish. We really need to sit back for a second. What I would tell the couple is like, what are you doing to take care of yourself?
Right.
What are you doing to take care of each other? And not what you think your partner needs. Like, what have you heard? Have you asked your partner, like, what do you need in order to relax? What are we doing together that makes us feel close, that makes us feel like have fun? Like we lose the friendship sometimes because we're so busy doing all of these other things and, we forget to be friends. And so I'm like, what do you do as friends? Like when you met during your relationship, how did you support and sustain your relationship until then? What were the things that you enjoyed doing? What did you like doing together? When did that stop happening?
Right, right.
What got in the way? How can you incorporate those things back into your life, whether it's, exercising together? I used to love going, to the gym with my ex-boyfriend, and I love going to the gym with my husband too now,
Yes,
by the way.
there you go.
But, you find different ways to incorporate your wants, your needs, your desires, and your interests into each other's lives instead of two people living in these separate zones, which often happens.
Well, does something have to give then? Like, if they live a certain way, with their jobs, with their, with all their side things, probably like, with their co-workers, etc. Something has to give to enable to grow the other side, to embellish the other side of the couple.
Well, like I said, prioritizing yourself and giving back to yourself, whatever you need to do, whether it's meditation, exercising, relaxation, just taking a couple of minutes for yourself and then prioritizing your relationship. If you don't make your partner a priority, if you don't make sex a priority, if you don't make your relationship and being more connected and feeling better, just in general, feeling more intimate and close with your partner, then it's going to be really hard. I mean, it doesn't just happen out of thin air. You have to work at it. You have to be intentional about it.
Right, right. And the next question I want to ask you is a question I've been asking myself since I was a child. Okay?
Since you were a child?
Since I was a child.
Okay.
Are we meant biologically to be with one person only?
Well, what do you think?
My wife is over there, like, of course I'm going to say, absolutely, baby, I love you. Yes, I think but it takes a lot of work to do that.
Right.
It takes a lot of work to do that. But there's been any studies or medical studies that have been, done on that subject where they could determine, yes, we're made to be with one person, it just takes work to do that, or no, we're programmed to be able to, to go with other people.
Well, biologically, I think, we are designed to pair bond. We are designed just by nature to be close to another. Medically, you need a man and a woman to be
Right.
able to have a baby. And then afterwards, the release of oxytocin in the body, the release of all of these other hormones gives brain a chemical wash and bonds you to your partner. That's what happens in the beginning stages of dating. That's what happens when you hold your child for the first time as new parents. I mean, there are chemicals biologically that are designed to kind of bond you to your mate.
Right.
However, monogamy is not for everyone, and that's perfectly okay. I think the trap can be when some people try to conform into the monogamy box, and that's just not what their preference is. And so I think that we should give ourselves the freedom to explore whatever works for us. The only way that it doesn't work is if you don't communicate and you don't know that for yourself and you get into a monogamous relationship, you're like, whoa, this is not for me. So as long as people can do whatever they like and whatever they please, and monogamy is not for everyone, but it's, there are different schools of thought. But I personally believe that, we're designed to mate and to be close to another person.
To one person. I mean, the reason why I ask you this is because, way back then, men dominated when it comes to cheating, right? But now recently, I've read some studies where women cheat equally as much, if
Yes.
not more, than men.
Well, I haven't seen more.
I've seen more. Maybe I've seen more.
But you know, I think you're absolutely right when it comes to cheating statistics. You know, it's not gendered anymore. It's not just the men are the ones that are doing all of the cheating. It's definitely neck and neck.
Women too. They have jumped on the bandwagon.
Yes, and you know, a lot of times when it comes to cheating, many times it has nothing to do with the person or the partner as the reason to why that person is cheating. It really has to do with, a lot of times it's a intra-personal crisis. So there's things that are happening within me, whether I'm still developing as a person, I'm exploring who I am, and I'm not sure who that is anymore. It's not who I thought I was. I really want to see what else is out there for me, or, you know, really following that lustful connection and saying, you know, I'm really attracted to somebody else, and not really thinking it through to say, you know what, this is what I've chosen. This is, you know, I've chosen to be in a monogamous relationship. But sometimes, you know, we can get ahead of ourselves, and some people, you know, end up going down the road when it comes to infidelity.
Absolutely. And my next question is, do we lose interest with someone after long periods of time being with the same person? Is it a normal thing, or is it something that's just been fabricated where, like, you know, we start to believe, oh, you know, it's normal after a few years to lose that? Or is it something that could be kept forever?
But you know what, for some people that is the case, but I think what people need to know is that relationships transition through different phases. You're not going to have the same relationship with your partner that you did when you first met them, or when you were in your 20s and your 30s. We all evolve, and our relationship evolves with us. And so I think that it's up to us to be in charge of that, and to really continue to check in with our partners, because we transition from romantic love, we continue that romantic love, but we move into partnership, we become best friends, you become soulmates, you become connected on a different level that may not all have been, you know, chemically, you know, sexually as driven as it was when we first met. But this is a long-standing, romantic, intimate, safe, loving connection. And yes, that can be sustained much longer.
So that flame could still be alive for a long time.
Absolutely. And I think the key to that, underneath it all, is continuing to be best friends. And when you're a best friend to someone, you support them, you encourage them, you nurture them, you nurture their dreams, their goals, their aspirations, and you're always wanting to know, what can I do? What is it that makes you happy, ticks you off? Continuing to discover who that person is and who your partner is, and doing that process together.
That's beautiful. Well, Marissa, we'll be right back after the exercise of the day. Hi, I'm Laurent. Let me show you a great exercise that will be a combo of chest and abs. It's called the chest fly crunches. That's how it looks like. You're gonna go down the floor, pick up your weights. One leg is gonna be floating up in the air while the other one goes in and out as you bring the chest up in the air, just like that. This is a fantastic exercise because it'll work the chest as well as the abs. Now, if this is too hard, just keep one leg down on the floor while the other one goes in. Try this one. You're gonna love it. I'm Laurent, et à bientôt. All right, we're back with Marissa, couples therapist. She's gonna answer some more of our lovely questions.
They've
Marissa,
been fabulous.
welcome back.
Thank you. You're keeping me on my toes.
Because I'm passionate about this subject. I want to know everything. I'm absorbing everything you're saying right now, you know? The next thing I want to talk to you about is, you know, we live in a cyber world. If you're looking for sex, it's very easy to find it.
Yes.
You know, you have sites like Ashley Madison, for example.
Oh, yeah.
You have apps like Tinder and Grindr and a lot of different apps that finish by ER. And
yes.
This is where you're going to end up, by the way, if you abuse those sites, you know. What does that say about our society in general? You know, when you have sites like this, you know, where you can find sex anywhere you want easily. What does that say about us?
I think that it says that we're very much of, I like to say, a microwave society. We like things fast, we want things exactly when we want it, and we want to have very easy accessibility to it. Mm-hmm. What does it say about us sexually? Well, more sex doesn't necessarily mean better sex. So we can go out seeking sex, we can go out seeking connection, but it doesn't necessarily translate to better sex or better connection.
Are we bored?
Yeah. Maybe.
That's basically what it is. We're just bored sexually.
I think, well, I wouldn't say bored sexually. I think that maybe you just, people seek connection for many, many reasons. They can be bored, they're coming out of a relationship, they want companionship and company. There's many reasons why people seek out these websites. So whether you're married, like I've certainly seen my fair share of couples that have transitioned out of marriages or been in a partnership where, you know, they've been unhappy, they don't know how to communicate those needs of what's happening or how the relationship has eroded over some time. So a lot of times it's much easier to turn to an app, to turn to a website, to go outside instead of, you know, sit in that uncomfortable anxiety and really work through some of those hard feelings that didn't take one day to get to that space. But sometimes it's a lot easier for people to use these websites as opposed to deal with the issues that they really need to deal with.
And so how do you deal with that when you're encountered with a couple that one of them is, you know, using one of those sites? Is it salvageable or it's like the end of the road at that point?
Oh, it's never the end of the road per se, but it depends on the couple, it depends on the circumstance. Listen, these websites, there's nothing wrong with it. Fantasy is a very healthy and needed part of sexuality. We need it. We have to have it. It creates eroticism.
I have a talk with my wife then.
It creates eroticism. It creates excitement.
Yes.
Fantasy is very needed. I'm not concerned about the website. I'm concerned about the role that it plays for the person. If you're just using it to add to your sexual template, fabulous. But if you're using the websites and you're not really having the conversations you need to have, or you're escaping the relationship issues that are in your life, then that's where I would be, you know, concerned, because now it's becoming a problem and it's becoming a roadblock between you and your partner as opposed to enhancing your relationship.
But, you know, a lot of those websites, like you want to mention Ashley Madison, for example, and maybe a lot of people don't know what Ashley Madison is. Basically, it's a website where if you're looking to cheat,
Yes.
you could go and you know, put your where you live, and then they'll give you a list of people that
are in
you know
your
are
area.
cheaters, you know, and that you can hook up with. Same thing with those different apps.
Yes.
You know, when a person gets to that point where he's actually doing that extra step to go on the computer, you know, put in his profile, whatever they do, you know, when they go on those sites. That's what I meant by, is that the end of the road for a person, you know, sexually with his wife or partner, or you say it's still salvageable?
I think that it again,
Because it goes beyond like, you know, just a fantasy at that point. He wants to make something reality, or he or she wants to make that a reality at that point if they're going and searching for it.
well, so, I mean, it depends. Again, it really depends on the couple. It depends on the person. It depends on the circumstances. I've seen many a couple bounce back from cheating because a lot of times the cheating is kind of what comes to the surface, and it exposes all of the other issues that have happened or have been in the relationship for a long time that have sometimes been unaddressed. So no, cheating is not wrong, but a lot of times it does bring, you know, to the forefront. It's a crisis that you have to deal with. You're in it, you have to deal with it. And a lot of people want to, you know, run from that because it's uncomfortable to talk about, you know, the fact that, you know, maybe I don't feel close to you anymore, or maybe I just feel like you only want to talk to me when we have sex. Sometimes people don't know how to be sexual or approach their partner sexually, because for many people they experience, you know, I can speak for women and that I've encountered and that I've seen, that sometimes, and men too, that touch only happens when it's time to have sex. And so people get very sensitive around, oh, you just want to touch me or be close to me because you want to have sex.
Right.
When, you know, we really should be nurturing that connection all the time. You should be holding your partner's hand, caressing their face, being close to them, snuggle with them. You should have physical intimacy without sexual intercourse, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I say that to say that a lot of times people don't have those conversations, aren't in that space. So when a crisis like this happens, or when somebody goes and looks, you know, to one of these websites for security or for comfort or, you know, a sexual outlet, it always comes from somewhere.
Right. Okay.
And I'm more curious about where it comes from.
Right. Exactly. Now we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, sexual fitness. I'm a trainer, so, you know, that's one of my favorite subjects.
Yes.
You say orgasms could be improved
Yes.
through exercises, basically like any other muscle. I'm a trainer. If you ask me how do I improve my arms, I'll show you exercises. How do I improve my, how do I lose weight? I'll help you with that. But I have never helped someone get a stronger vagina or penis. Maybe you could tell me how. What are the exercises out there that you could show us or tell us about that could improve orgasms?
Well, Kegel exercises, I love them. Basically what Kegel exercises do is that they strengthen your pelvic floor. Pelvic floor health is so important. I can't stress that enough as a as a sex therapist. Men have it, women have it. They're interconnected muscles that support your sexual organs, and so they're the muscles that you need when during childbirth. They're the muscles that hold up your bladder, your urethra. They're going to help you so that when you cough or sneeze or jump, there is no there's no bladder incontinence.
Right.
You're going to be able to strengthen your pelvic floor. And so when you strengthen those muscles through Kegel exercises, which is basically contracting your pelvic floor, you can kind of close your eyes. You can do them anywhere. That's why I love them.
I'm doing them right now. I did 15 reps already.
Exactly. So when you do that, you're strengthening your core, you're strengthening those muscles, and you can really strengthen the kinds of orgasms that you have. A study showed that women that only have vaginal orgasms have intermediate pelvic floor strength. Those that don't have any orgasms at all had very weak pelvic floor muscles. And so it's very, very important to kind of flex those important muscles regardless of whether you're a man or a woman, because it really leads to stronger orgasms and better sexual health.
And you said even for men.
For men.
The Kegels could help even men.
Yes, men need it, yes.
I'll do them on a more regular basis then,
They run both ways.
And also that works as well after a woman gave birth or something like that, right?
Yeah, so once you're doing that, I suggest the tampon tip for women. So basically, you don't have to be on your cycle, but the next time that, just grab a tampon, you can try to push that, use your Kegel muscles to push your tampon out. And that way you're really strengthening, you're able to see how strong they are.
And I don't wear tampons, so how, as a guy...
Well, as a guy, you can just continue doing what you've been doing.
Right, okay. Okay, guys, if you don't have a tampon, just contract it, We have a few minutes, and I want to talk about another subject called low libido.
Okay.
Okay? Is that a medical problem, or is that someone that's just not interested in sex anymore?
Well, as far as a medical problem, yes, it can become a medical issue. When it comes to low libido, there are plenty of things and plenty of reasons that contribute to low sexual desire, right? So you're going to rule out any biological factors, which are hormones, medications, because certain medications, antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications lead to lowered libido. So outside of biological factors, I'm really going to want to ask what's happening in your relationship, because when it comes to desire disorders, as long as you rule out biological factors, a lot of times they present when there is a disconnection in the relationship. And then all these other compounding factors, stress, not sleeping, all of these other things, they also contribute to low libido. So it's a real thing.
Well, there you go, guys. I hope you got a lot of information from Marissa. But before you go, Marissa, I want to ask you a few true or false. Test your knowledge.
Oh, God.
True or false? A man's beard grows faster when he anticipates sex.
I'm going to say true.
She's right. Touch my beard. You see, it grew already. True or false? The first couple shown together in beds on TV was from I Love Lucy.
False.
So what would you say it is?
I don't know. I don't know the first
It's
couple.
false, you're right.
Okay.
It's Fred and Wilma Flintstone.
Really?
Did you know that?
A cartoon?
Fred and Wilma Flintstone was the first couple shown in bed together.
What?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Well, Marissa, thank you so much for joining me. I feel like I had so many more questions over here to ask you, but you have to come back and we'll have to finish those questions.
Oh, I would love to. Thanks for having me.
And thank you so much for watching Yala Live. And if you're looking to live a healthy and happy life, what I like to do is I like to follow a few rules. I call them the Yala rules. Eat healthy, exercise regularly, surround yourself with positive people, and spend more time with your kids and family. I find when I do that, I feel better, I have more energy, and my mood is better. Try it. Let me know how it goes. My name is Laurent, and as we say in French, à bientôt.